Welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is a look I created using the new Zoeva Rose Golden palette. This will be available on their website from the 23rd of February. So I've applied my base. I've used Illamasqua Skin Base, and now I'm applying a little bit of Illamasqua's darkest foundation mixed with the foundation I've used on my face, which is 8.5. And those two mixed together has given me a nice contour colour, which is a few shades darker than my natural skin tone. So now I'm using my Real Techniques contour brush from the Bold Metals collection, and I'm just working that colour into my cheekbone area. Over the top of that, I'm just going to use the foundation brush from Crown that I used earlier to apply my foundation base, and I'm working in circular motions over the top, just blending that colour in so there's no seams. I'm also going to take a little bit of that dark colour around my hairline using the Bold Metals contour brush again, and then going back in with my Crown foundation brush, I'm going to work that over the top, blending that into the skin. Because I haven't set the foundation underneath, it makes it easier for me to be able to blend the darker shade in, and this is just going to warm up the circumference of my face. Unfortunately, this particular foundation brush hasn't got a name, so I can't even tell you what number it is from Crown, but I will contact them and find out, and then I will later on add that into the description bar of the video. So I'm also taking a little bit of that colour just down the sides of my nose, and again blending with that foundation brush. Just in case you're interested, these are the two foundation colours that I used from Illamasqua to get my base. I'm keeping my brows nice and simple like I have done for the last couple of tutorials, and I'm just using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in medium brown. Like I've said in many of my tutorials, I like to start at the base of my brow and pull the colour up, just mimicking little hairlines. Always remember, when you're filling in your brows, whether it be powder, pencil or a brow gel, always leave the very front of your brows as the lightest area, because they are naturally like this. We want to keep our brows as nice and natural looking as possible. I do have a video on brows, so I will link the tutorial in the description bar of this video. So this is the new Rose Golden palette from Zoeva Cosmetics. Like many eyeshadow palettes, it contains a mix of finishes, so we've got some nice satiny shimmers and matte finishes. So the colour we're going to start with is this gorgeous copper shade, and this is called Copper is King. And to apply that, I'm taking the Zoeva 220 Luxe Grande shader brush. So I'm pushing that colour over the mobile eyelids up to the socket line. So I layer this eyeshadow up about 3 times just to really make sure it's nice and vibrant and it really packs that colour on. This way you can also really see the reflectiveness of the colour. This shade would look particularly amazing on anybody with green eyes. The next brush I'm using is the Ray Morris number 11 medium oval shadow brush. And I'm just going to go over that eyeshadow just at the very seam where the crease is and just soften that so there's no harsh lines. Now going back to our Luxe Grande shader brush, I'm applying a little bit more of that copper colour to the mobile eyelid, and as I mentioned earlier, it's about layering. Going back to my Zoeva palette, I'm taking this colour called Rusty Pearls, and then turning my Zoeva brush over on the other side, I'm going to use the same brush to apply this colour just to the outer half of the mobile eyelid. Using the same technique we did with the first colour, we're going to layer this on, and as you can see, I'm working my brush in circular motions, blending that colour on top. Then I'm turning my brush on an angle, and I'm just pulling the colour outwards, again creating a little bit of a V shape on the outer edge. You don't need to be too neat about this because we are going to be blending it out, but it's just an easy way of dragging that colour outwards. Then I'm taking my number 8 medium point shader by Ray Morris, and I'm placing the point of the brush into the crease, and I'm using the outside bristles to blend the up half of my eyelid. Dipping my Grande shader brush back into that Rusty Pearls colour, I'm placing that back over where we've just blended, and again this is called layering. We blend it out so we get a nice gradient and a soft edge, but then we reapply the colour because it will disappear while we're blending. Next I'm going to mix this dark matte brown shade with a little bit of the Rusty Pearls colour that we just applied, and I'm going to place this on the outer half of the eyelid. I'm using my Real Techniques base shadow brush to do this. So first of all, I'm patting that on the outer corner, and then I'm going to slowly drag the colour out, creating another V shape like we already applied, and then blend over that. Because we've got the base colour underneath, this colour will blend lovely over the top. I like to work in circular motions from the outside, pulling the colour through the crease so we get a nice soft gradient. Then I'm going to dip my Grande shader brush back into the copper colour and just feather that over the very centre of the eyes so the seam of the two eyeshadows blend nicely. Taking my Zoeva 325 Luxe Brow Light Brush, I'm dipping that into the copper shade and I'm running that underneath the lower lashes. Like we did with our top lid, we're going to dip the brush into the colour and apply it a couple of times to build up the intensity. taking my synthetic angle brush from Crown, I'm dipping that into the Rusty Petals shade and Wonderful, which was the matte brown, and we're going to extend that V from the outer corner of the top lid down to the lower lash line, but only a third of the way in. And this is just going to frame the eye and also add a soft smoke just at the outer corner underneath the lower lash line. Using a small detailer brush, I'm mixing Reflective Elegance and Foil together, which are two of the lighter shades, and I'm applying this to the inner corner of the eye and along the tear duct area, and this is just going to draw some reflective highlight to those areas. The eyeliner I'm using is by Kryolan, and this is their cream liner, and the colour I'm using is Aubergine, and I'm using my favourite paintbrush to apply this. I'm simply lining across the top lid, not particularly thick or particularly fine, just what size the bristles of the brush allows. And I'm just creating a very small baby wing at the end. Don't drag it out too far because we want it to be about the eyeshadow, not too much about the eyeliner. Most of the cream liners by Kryolan are quite intense, but this one in particular just seems to need 2 coats because otherwise you end up with a bit of a wishy-washy purple appearance to your eyes. So as you can see, I've taken that across the waterline and I've also tight-lined the eye too. The lashes I'm applying are these Naomi ones which I've used in the last couple of tutorials, and they're by Lena Lashes. And the bottom set are called Precious by House of Lashes. To define my cheekbones a little bit more, I'm using MAC's Pro Sculpt in Shadowy and my Zoeva Vegan Face Paint brush. And I'm literally just working it down in a straight line and just feathering the colour up ever so slightly. That way we're going to create a nice defined appearance to our cheekbones. So I've decided this is my ultimate contour brush. I don't think I'm ever going to find another one that I love more than this brush. I think this one tops the Real Techniques one. Next I'm taking this powder by MAC which is called Light Sweep, and I'm using my Luxe Face Focus brush. I'm sweeping that powder underneath my eye area, and this has got light reflecting pigments in it, so it's just going to help to brighten underneath that eye area because I don't tend to wear concealer. So I think I've discovered my ultimate highlighter. I'm using this one from my Glamour Glow Indulgence palette by Kryolan. This is the ultimate colour to use if you've got a tan. It is stunning. It would still look good even if you don't have a tan, but on tan skin I can imagine this would just look absolutely beautiful. For my blush I'm using the same palette, and I'm mixing this dusky pink and this bright peachy shade together to get the right colour for my skin, or should I say right colour for this look. And I'm adding quite a bit of blush for this look. It's going to be quite a blushy cheek. If you're not a fan of blush, then just apply a little bit less, you don't have to apply so much. I always like to go over the top of that with my foundation brush just to soften it ever so slightly. I'm lining my lips using this Ben Nye lip pencil in the shade Grande. It's quite a reflective colour, again in keeping with these copper tones that we've used, and I'm lining the entire circumference of my lips, and then I'm also filling in the entire lip surface with this. Over that I'm adding the smallest amount of Wave lip gloss by Kryolan. I'm just using my finger to blend over the top of that. You can wear a matte lip if you prefer. Then over the top of that I'm just applying a little bit of my Victoria's Secret lip gloss. And that is the finished look. As I mentioned earlier in this, if you've got green eyes this will look absolutely amazing on you. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any questions please leave them in the comments section of the video. If you haven't subscribed already then please do so. These are my previous 2 tutorials. If you didn't see those you can click on them now and it will take you to them. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and the links to those will be in the description bar of this video.